Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinston, and welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Fill us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. All of our shows are on YouTube. We've got over 1,000 different videos there. And you guys have been watching like crazy, and thank you so much. We're very big on community policing. National Night Out is Tuesday, August 4th, not just in the city of Chicago, but throughout the nation. In the 24th District, each of the 9 individual police beats will be having their own function. Sonny's is going to be at Greenbrier Park. He's the chairman of the District Advisory Committee, and he's been chairing he chairs the meetings for Beat 2413. I chair the meetings for 2412, and we're going to be at Warren Park, and there will be prizes and giveaways for kids. There'll be special people coming from the police department, and we hope you'll come there so we can get you arrested and off to the proper venue. You know, you guys who watch the show regularly know that I absolutely love Facebook. You never know who you're going to run into. And I've met so many strangers. I even get half my clients for Jewish Chicago over there. I mean, you can really make it it's a great resource if you work it right. But anyway, I happened to see a name of somebody that I used to be on the same newspaper with at Columbia College, the CC writer, one of the star reporters. And we have some real good talent there, too, and some great teachers. And we are renewing acquaintances. I think no, I'm not going to say on air how long it's been. But
Yes, don't.
No, but it was probably, I think we just graduated last Wednesday. But it is my pleasure to introduce you to Jelena Zande. Jelena, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Avi. Nice to see you again.
It's really nice seeing you,
Yes.
and you bring back really great memories of
Yes,
Columbia.
you as well. You as well.
Yeah,
Avi.
such a great school, and
Sure,
you know,
sure is, and still is.
still is. Yeah, we were actually on Lakeshore. I actually showed up. I was there 2 years ago for the first time in a long time.
Oh, wow.
They asked me to be there for Career Day. They actually thought I was hiring people for the show for some reason. I didn't realize, but it's like, boy, it was so different. All the classrooms are under lock and key now.
Yeah.
Everybody's afraid of security type considerations.
Yes. Right, and now they have dorms, which they have living quarters, which we didn't have.
No, not
back
at all.
then, and we were on Lakeshore Drive, which was really nice, overlooking the lake.
And yeah, we were right. We could go to Navy Pier anytime we wanted to.
Yes.
It didn't cost any money.
Right.
And parking on Grand Avenue behind the school was like, there were meters, a quarter an hour for 12 hours.
Yes, I remember that. Those were the days.
Yeah, now I think
great
5 minutes is $87 if there's a meter there.
Just about.
No, but that was a lot of fun, and it was you know, and we didn't have the whole building to ourselves. There were actually people that.
Right.
There was an artificial limb factory actually on half of one of the floors.
Was there?
Yeah.
Got a good memory, Ivy.
So, well,
I
that's
remember
hard
the dance studio on Lakeshore Drive.
Right.
Not on Michigan. The branch was on Michigan Avenue, and now the school has all moved over there.
Yeah, and it's really nice over there, I have to say.
It is. It's nice. A great school, and great memories.
Yeah, definitely, and a good education.
Yeah.
So, to give some background, you worked for the Sun-Times, you worked for the City News Bureau.
Yes.
So, you know, you definitely went from there and did something with your degree, and she was a really good writer it wasn't the Columbia Chronicle then, it was the CC writer.
Right.
Like C for Columbia College, and Mitch Ryder had this song, you know, CC writer.
Right. Right.
So, boy, those were definitely different days. And actually, we were there the year that became I don't know if we graduated the same year, and I don't want to say the years on the air, but were you at the Michigan Avenue one at all, or you graduated the same year I did from Lakeshore Drive? Because I was there the last year they were at Michigan. I think it was the last year they were.
It was on Michigan Avenue that I graduated. Yeah.
Oh, so
I have pictures. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. They were still on Lakeshore when I graduated.
Okay. No, it was Michigan Avenue. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, no, like I said, I never went there formally. I did go to one. I did go to one reunion type thing once that they had. They were trying to build an alumni association. That was really cool to see the people. And by the way, there's some other people who are with the newspaper from Facebook. There was a guy. I forget his real last name, but there's a guy, Stan Champion, who was on that black guy. He went out with Rolanda.
Okay.
And he's like a tall guy. He's actually like an award-winning musician now.
Really?
Yeah, and he plays in the area. He plays blues and jazz and stuff. And he's won like 9 major Chicago Music Awards. And
there were so many talented people at that school.
Yeah, Lynn Emmerman, but she's...
Yeah, I remember her.
She went to work for the Tribune, got a scholarship at Lisagor Award to Harvard and stuff.
Oh,
So,
okay, I remember Lynn.
And I don't remember all... I'm going to... Well, first of all, I'm definitely going to leave people out because I don't remember everybody anymore, but...
yeah, you got a good memory, Avi.
They were... Yeah, I know.
Sure.
It's not always the best thing to have, but... it does help when you're trying to check up on politicians.
Yes, it sure does.
So anyway, you're married, you got 3 kids.
Yes.
And one of them actually was a starting tackle on the University of Illinois football team.
Right. Yeah, he got a full ride. He's 6'6", a big guy. He was a lineman, offensive lineman. And but after a year, he decided the football wasn't for him. But he did stay at the school, and then he ended up down the road. He ended up going to Columbia College.
Oh, interesting.
And graduating from Columbia, getting his degree in communications. And then he just graduated with his master's from Northwestern last year in communications.
Very nice.
So, yeah, small world.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever thought he would end up graduating from Columbia College.
I never even heard of it when I started college.
It was, at that time, I remember, it was kind of an alternative to Northwestern as far as journalism, because not many, I don't think any other schools had a journalism degree, offered a journalism degree besides Northwestern University and Columbia.
Right.
Those were the only 2.
By the way, you're lucky if you got that, because technically, because I was there they actually got their accreditation in June of the year that I graduated. Mm-hmm. But my degree is actually in communications, because it wasn't officially, even though the majority of my classes I took were in journalism.
Yeah.
And like we were talking earlier with great teachers like Bill Gaines, who later became the head of the, he was our investigative reporting teacher, Denise DeClue, who wrote movies with Harold Ramis, feature writing teacher, Hank DeZutter, who actually started the community media workshop. I ran into him a few years ago. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, I remember him. He was a great teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool guy.
And we had Bob Surratt went to Columbia.
That's right.
Before us, because
he also taught.
And what
he taught at Columbia too.
That's right. He taught also. And I did an interview with him when I was on the.
I remember
CC
that
Writer.
because I was editor of the paper at one time, but
you probably were. Yes, you were. You were. Yeah, you were very involved with that paper.
I remember because I had my own problems with Surratt. Mm-hmm. Surratt. Well, I can't say everything on the air, but he taught a class, and I was actually at the time the big rivalry was Larry Lujak and Bob Surratt.
Yeah.
I was a Larry Lujak guy.
Yeah.
I always liked Larry Lujak, and he had Bob Surratt. I had a couple of problems with Bob Surratt, and actually your story might have been one of them. Mm-hmm. So, but I had another problem with him too on another thing, and I actually deliberately misspelled his name in the story.
Okay, then that would have caused a problem for him.
It did. He was a real peacock, probably still is. And he came into the newspaper office and he said, I don't remember how to spell his name, but let's say it's 1 R and 1 T.
Right.
So he said, no, it's 1 R and 1 T. And I said, 1 R and 2 T's? He said, no, 1 R and 1 T. And I said, 2 R's and 1 T? He says, no. 1 R, 1 T. And then I said, 3 R's and 4 T's. And he knew exactly what I did at that time, and he just kind of hopped out.
Yeah. Well, he started building his career, pretty early. He was out there at a young age. He was well known. I don't know if he was on the radio.
He was
at some point.
I'll tell you his origin, because Al Parker, who was head of the radio department.
Yeah, I remember Al Parker.
And because actually, you know what? I actually had a choice between being editor of the newspaper or head of the radio department. And I chose head of the radio department, and Al Parker nixed me because he thought I wasn't a conformist, so I understood, he wanted somebody who was more straight and narrow.
Right.
But he told me this, that was like his star pupil. He started out as a page boy on, at NBC, WMAQ Channel 5. And he was a page boy, and he met people through that and found his way onto the air. From being a page boy. I mean, I used to hear, even when I was at Mayfair, from Marion Stiller, our journalism teacher, she would talk about what the value of just being a copy boy, to get your foot in the door and get to know people.
Right.
And then when you get your chance, you get your opportunity, you either do that or you start out in a small town.
Yeah.
And actually, when I was 17, I was doing radio in Morris, Illinois, and I used to be the play-by-play announcer for the Morris Redskins and the Coal City Colors when I was 17. I drove 75 miles each way for $15 a game.
But it was worth it.
It was fun. I loved it.
It was
and
worth
I'm still
it.
telling the story, and they just had a tornado in Coal City, so I'm relevant for a change. So anyway, you know what? We were going to talk about real estate, and that is, you're a realtor, and you wanted to let people know what, realty is, real estate, and all the rest of it. So, let's talk, educate us.
Okay. Well, after my kids finished school, high school, and college, and I thought, well, what could I do? What could I do now, that's somewhat related to what I did before, my first love, which was journalism and writing. And I thought, well, being a realtor, you kind of go out there and meet people kind of on a cold basis. You don't know them, you meet them, similar to when you interview somebody.
I never thought about what I do that way, but
yes,
I don't think I could ever cold call, but I do it in journalism all the time. You're right.
Right, it's cold calling. So you meet some great people. I've met some great people in the business. I gather information from them about their family, what they're looking for, where they're moving to, where they're moving from. It's one of the biggest investments they're going to make in their life is real estate.
Sure. So
they have to be comfortable with their agent and trust their agent. And I thought, that's me. I can do that. So I got into the business 8.5 years ago, and thinking it's going to be hit or miss, but I find that I'm good at it, and I like it, and I enjoy it, and I'm going to keep going. So, but besides me being an agent, I think any agent out there is very crucial to anybody looking to buy or to sell. Finding the right agent is very important. Somebody you feel comfortable with, can talk to, call every day if you need to. You develop a rapport. You become part of their life for a while, for a good 2, 3, 4, 5 months, could be a year, could be 2 years.
Wow.
So I like it. And the market is improving, which is good. And I'm seeing a lot of confidence that I didn't see 2, 3, 4 years ago when we went into the recession, the crash. We're starting to come back, and there is definitely improvement and more consumer confidence. And I see that on a regular basis. Buyers are getting off the fence. Sellers are now finally maybe able to recoup what they sold for, maybe depending on when they bought their property. If they bought in 2005, it's still going to be kind of tough. If they bought before then, they might have a chance of at least breaking even or even making a little bit of money, which wasn't the case 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I know
And they
that
took a huge hit, the sellers.
at peak, the house, there's 5 houses on this block that are identical, and actually 6 if you count the drive, but they have a driveway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only one without a garage.
Mm-hmm.
So a house that was like me with the garage went for 360 or 365 about a month before the crash.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it, because I always looked in the paper at the real estate transactions in the community paper
Right.
and went, can't believe the house is worth this,
Right.
Of course, it's not worth quite as much as the one with the garage, but close. Okay, I'll take it. Okay, the next thing I know, about a year later, and I go to something like something like Zillow or one of these like things on Google, that you can Google or on the web.
Zillow.
Thank you. Yeah, you would know better than me, that's for sure. And I'm seeing like 190, and then going, ah!
A lot of people took huge losses, which is unfortunate.
Well, thank
Some
God
people
I
that
don't
had
have-
to sell were relocating. People move for all different reasons, but the market was just flat, and the jobs, the jobs which drive the economy the job market was bad, and so now there's more jobs being created and more of that domino effect, which is really good, I think, for everybody.
No, it is no question. I mean, I'm just grateful I don't have a mortgage. So if I had a mortgage, I know people who's, like what they call underwater mortgages.
Yes, short sales.
Yeah, their house is worth less than what they owe.
Right. And
So-
that's the short sale. Short sale is, when you get a market analysis and you find out, well, I can never sell this house, what I paid for it or what I owe on it. So then that's a short sale. There has to be some kind of a hardship on the part of the owner where the bank will agree to forgive a part of the loan. But the owner still technically owns the house in a short sale. And it's a matter of getting an offer and a contract and having the bank decide. Then it goes to the bank, the lender, and they decide how much they're willing to forgive. So that's short. Foreclosure is where the bank has already possessed the property. And then they're the owner, the bank.
One time being a walker, I could tell you that there was almost one house per block
Yes.
that was foreclosed on or, vacant for whatever reason.
Yes.
And I mean vacant. And I've had Tom Dart here, who is the sheriff who's in charge of foreclosures and all that. And
It's not good for the community.
no, not at all.
have
And this
those
is a
vacant
decent middle-class
houses.
community.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So although the longer time goes, the suburbs are suburbs are nicer, that's for sure.
Well, Chicago is doing great. Chicago, from last year till this year, in single-family home sales, the increase is 7%.
Nice.
Yes. The price increase is 7%. Condominiums, the increase is 9% from last year to this year in Chicago. The supply has gone down quite a bit.
That's
So
also
it's,
good.
yes, and that's good. So there's supply and demand. So the less supply, the more demand. But Chicago has some great neighborhoods, and I think you can't go wrong buying in Chicago for sure. You've got Irving Park. Oh my goodness, Logan Square is up and coming. There's Edgewater. Lincoln Park is still very expensive. Roscoe Village, pricey. But there's some other areas the young people want to be close to the city and to the lake.
Yeah, more so than ever. I mean, people are moving back. It used to be
They
like
are.
west, suburban sprawl, but it's coming back the other way.
Oh, the young people, the millennials, They love being close to the lake and close to the city.
I used to have my business at Irving and Ravenswood. Not exactly there, but just a little bit south in a factory building.
Yeah.
And this is in the mid-'80s. I had 1,500 square feet. I was paying $175 a month, utilities included.
How much?
$175 a month. It was in a factory building, and it wasn't a commercial type situation. But I mean, my business wasn't really an open to the, you know, even though I was doing publishing and all the rest of it, I didn't want a bunch of little customers coming for wedding invitations. I wanted to do books and larger projects. So I knew I was getting a deal, but the fact is the guy wanted somebody to be there.
Right.
And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't exactly the Ritz in there. I mean, it was all cement and brick.
Yeah.
But, you know, some people consider that stylish.
Nowadays, absolutely.
Yeah, people have no
Well,
taste.
rents now
Oh, by the way,
are
I was going to
astronomical.
tell you that now that place I was at, when that neighborhood gentrified, okay, there's a playhouse where my office used to be.
Yeah.
Really fancy condos going for huge amounts. I can see it when I take the L to Wrigley Field or something. I
Yeah.
can see it right off the L.
Oh, Wrigley Field is a hot area. Very and expensive. And but rents are way up there. They're in demand. They're high. And I tell people, if you can afford to rent, you can probably buy, and might even be cheaper.
Wow.
Yeah, as far as monthly payments, of course, you know, they have to have a steady source of income, a job, and pretty decent credit, because they look at that. And then with the young people, what's happening is they're getting hit with these student loans.
Ooh, yeah.
And the loans that are deferred, that are coming up. And then lenders will look at that, depending on how far out it's deferred, which goes kind of against their borrowing power. And it's unfortunate that that's going on.
I have a friend, I mean, like a contemporary, who actually was editor of his law review in college and went to work at a fancy law firm in the Sears Tower, you know, after he graduated, who hasn't paid off his student loan yet. I mean, I'm just, thank God I didn't borrow any money to go to school at all.
But now, you know, with the college costs, they're out of control. The interest rates for college for student loans are high. They're 6% and up, and mortgage rates are hovering in the 4s. They're starting to climb up slightly, but still they're at historic lows. But the student loans and the amounts that they have to pay to even for University of Illinois, which is state funded,
Right.
it's still a lot of money.
It's a hell of a lot of money.
And then they come out, they're doing the right things, going to school, getting an education. They come out with a huge amount of debt at high interest rates, and they really hope that the legislators, the lawmakers, do something about that, because I see that as being a major problem.
It's a major problem, and people are getting fleeced, to put it nicely. And if you're looking at, I mean, there's so many schools that I had a friend whose daughter got a $35,000 a year scholarship to the University of Chicago. And that put him under the gun, because at the time he had to come up with an extra $15,000 a year himself.
Right.
Which is a lot of money.
Well, some of the yearly tuition rates are more than people make in a year, that, you know, their income. And so the students have no choice but to borrow if they can. Even, you know, sometimes they can't. But, you know, it's not unusual to walk out of college with $100,000 in debt, 150 or more. And so they're out there looking for a job and trying, you know, it's like, okay, I want to get ahead. I want to buy a condo. I want to buy a house, but I have 150 in debt. That's the price of a condo.
I had to go
So
to
it is
business to get that
unfortunate.
far in debt.
It was different when we went. I did get a state grant to pay part of my tuition at Columbia College, which was wonderful.
Yeah, tuition at the time was $1,600 a year.
Yeah.
And my senior year, when I was editor of the paper, I actually got a free ride, and they gave me $60 a week.
Yeah. Well, I remember mine was like $2,500, I think.
Well, I graduated before you did.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But now, you know, 25, 30, 35. Northwestern is about 45 a year in tuition alone.
And actually, if you add the extras, it's more than that.
Oh yeah, it's more. It's yeah. But that's what the young people are dealing with, coming out of college with student debt, trying to buy housing, and
When I
it's a
looked
little
to
more
go to
difficult.
I thought about going to graduate school at Medill after I graduated Columbia, and
Great
it was
school.
$8,000 then.
Yeah, and now it's got to be 50,000 a
Oh,
year.
it's more than 50.
Yeah,
I mean, grad
'cause
school
I know
is
my
more,
son
actually
got
more
his-
expensive than.
Yeah, my son got his master's from Northwestern, so I know.
Yeah, actually, you know what? It's funny because I was going to, I was going to get the master's or PhD in order to get a job teaching in the city college, which I had available to me, and they wanted me to get that degree and then go there. It's only 1 year for a master's and 2 for a PhD in journalism.
Yeah.
So, and that was to start teaching at Mayfair College at $12,800 a year, and with the maximum salary of $22,000. And when somebody offered me a job at $13,200, I said to myself, "Do I really want to keep going to school?" And the answer was, "Hell no."
Yeah.
And that was it. That was it.
I think we were lucky.
Yeah, we
Back
were. It was
then.
a different day and age. We've got 2.5 minutes left. So, what other real estate gems would you like to share with us?
Well, I think what I would say is if somebody is in a position to buy and is on the fence, interest rates are not going to stay much longer at this rate of 4%. I would say get your mortgage pre-approval, go see a lender, see how much you can afford to buy. Do not rack up a bunch of bills, buy a new car, furniture. You know, if you're serious about buying, hold off on that. Start looking around and making your move now, because we don't know what's going to happen, but you know, in the future, no crystal ball, but we know that these rates are not going to last forever or much longer. They're expected to go up the end of the year. So, you know, get in on it while you can. Whatever you can buy, it's going to be the best. It's still the best investment you can make is property.
No, as a matter of fact,
So-
when I think about, there was a house, you know, a block away from here. When I started Jewish Chicago, I actually could have bought 2 houses with the money it took to start Jewish Chicago,
Yeah.
and both those houses are worth about, even after the crash, are worth 6 or 7 times now
Yes.
what that was
Yeah.
then. And if I'm not a greedy kind of person, and I'm not a woulda, coulda, shoulda, but for people who have what to think about, real estate is really something real to invest in. And almost
Yes.
anybody I know that went into real estate did well, unless they had the worst luck in the world or were completely swindled by somebody, which is
Right.
not the usual thing that happens.
Right.
Because you have so many ways to double check things and all the rest of it.
Right, right. And that's why it's important to find a good agent who's going to work with you and be on your side and look out for your best interests.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
very important.
So it really sounds to me like the market's definitely rolling, and if the
Yes.
interest rates start going up, and of course real estate values are going up, it probably sounds like this is a good time for people if they're going to take the step. Because listen, even a tiny point in the mortgage thing can be thousands and thousands of dollars
Yes,
over a
in
20,
the long
30-year
run,
mortgage.
When you figure it, 30-year mortgage, and you add half a point extra or half a percent or 1% extra, add that up, it is thousands and thousands more in payments. So
don't delay, buy today.
yes,
I
absolutely.
want to thank you very much, Jelena Zande, Realtor, and it's so nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
For those of you who missed the beginning, we were on the Columbia College newspaper together. She was a veteran of the Sun-Times and the City News Bureau, and we want to wish you all the luck in the world in your ventures. And thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Avi.
being
It was
here.
great to see you again.
My pleasure, Jelena.
Thank you.